presides over APC caucus meeting. Its use of financial autonomy on the front burner as state assemblies meet President Buhari, and communities affected by kidnapping and bandit attacks advised to work more closely with security agencies. Good afternoon. This is Panorama on the network service of the NTA. I am Lydia Odije-Ochi. Thank you for joining us. The Conference of Speakers of State Legislators of Nigeria has been directed to make formal presentation to the presidency on areas of concern regarding the implementation of the financial autonomy granted state assemblies and state judiciary by the Constitution for necessary action. President Muhammadu Buhari, who gave the directive while granting audience to the chairman and members of the conference, maintains that equity and fairness must prevail in governance. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
The National Caucus meeting, the first since the conduct of the 2019 elections, lasted about 4 hours behind closed doors. In attendance were President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, presiding officers of the National Assembly, members of the National Working Committee, and other chieftains of the governing party from across Nigeria. The participants who reviewed the last general and subsequent elections in Nigeria take pride in the performance of the party so far, which they described as fulfilling and reassuring.
The APC is much more stronger, having regard to what we witnessed in Kogi and Bayelsa election. It's a clear indication that the APC is working stronger and stronger by the day. And come 2023, our performance will be much more better than the 2019 election, because there is a ray of hope in the horizon.
It's a very timely and a very good meeting. We discussed extensively on the issue of our party, due process, so that we will be in strict compliance with the constitution of our party. And we are assuring Nigeria that APC is getting more stronger daily.
Just only a few days ago, the elections of Kogi State and Bayelsa was won. That's a mark of strength. And that shows that the party is still acceptable to our people, and the Nigerians are happy with the party. And I'm convinced that the party is more committed and more dedicated to help build a strong party that will deliver the dividends of democracy to Nigerians.
The national chairman of the party, Adams Oshomole, described the meeting as critical as the year comes to an end. He enumerated some of the major issues discussed at the meeting by stakeholders.
Our financial statements for previous years, the budget for next year, issues that arose during and after the election, and current outcome of various cases that went to court. And the one we won, the one we lost, and going forward, issues in some states where we have disagreement and how to resolve those disagreements. I think that is it. And it went very well.
Decisions taken, he said, will be ratified at the National Executive Committee meeting. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
That was the meeting where President Buhari met the APC caucus. Moving on now, the All Progressives Congress. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is urging the re-elected governor of Kogi State, Bello, to ensure that his second term in office is more eventful and result-oriented as a reciprocal gesture for the renewed trust and confidence of the people in his administration. This was while granting audience to the governor for the first time since the renewal of his mandate. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
Still basking in the euphoria of his overwhelming governorship elections victory, Governor Bello was accompanied to the State House by APC National Chairman Adams Oshomole to formally present his certificate of return to the president.
Under your leadership, we are scoring the first, the second is 2/2. Yeah. So I would believe that the next one that are coming, it's going to be like that.
Well, congratulations to the chairman this time.
President Muhammadu Buhari said much more in terms of democracy dividends is expected from him by the people of Kogi State. Such, he emphasized, must be given to them in return for their renewed trust and confidence in the governing APC, as explained at a media briefing by party chairman Adams Oshomole.
I was happy to see his certificate, and like all of us, he has encouraged us to recognize that the reward for hard work, as they say, is more work. And I'm sure Governor Yaya Bello, having passed through the learning curve, is going to approach his second term with all the vigor, with eye for posterity and legacy marks in the development of Kogi State. Governor Bello will give his all.
Governor Yaya Bello told newsmen that he is not unmindful of public expectations and the challenges ahead, but promised not to disappoint.
We have a lot of tasks ahead of us. The journey has just begun. I need the cooperation and understanding of every citizen and resident of Kogi State to join hands with me in this next level so that we can together do more for our state.
The governor attributed his landslide victory to the resolve by the people of the confluent state not to allow ethnicity becloud their sense of reasoning, judgment, and focus. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has urged security agencies and communities under threats of bandit attacks and kidnappings to be more vigilant and alert in the light of the latest incidents in Enugu, Zamfara, Adamawa, Katsina, and Kaduna states. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says the President observed that the unpredictability of the security situation called for all to be more alert. President Buhari says bandits should under no circumstances be allowed to hold the country to ransom on account of security loopholes which they seek to exploit to strike at their victims. The President urged all communities to help security agencies with intelligence in order to stop the bandits in their tracks. The President commended security agencies for their dedication and sacrifice and directed them to redouble their efforts and make life uncomfortable for the bandits. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has deferred ruling on the bail application of the former chairman pension reforms task team, Abdulrasheed Maina. Justice Okonabang predicated his decision on the unwillingness of both the prosecution and the defense to proceed without Maina's medical report, or Labode Arewa reports.
The trial of Abdulrasheed Maina was slated for continuation this Thursday. He arrived in the court, aided in working by officials of the Nigeria Correctional Service. The proceedings began with the prosecution counsel, Salisu Abubakar, indicating readiness to commence the trial. Francis Oronsaye, counsel to Abdulrasheed Maina, called attention to pending bail application and the medical report on his health condition being expected from the Nigeria Correctional Service. The prosecution objected, arguing that since the said medical report was yet to be furnished on the court, the trial should continue. The second defense counsel, Adeola Adedipe, insisted that the court must conduct findings on Maina's health condition, or else the court's decision will be nullified at the appeal courts. The presiding judge, Justice Okonabang, took exception to this submission. He nevertheless went ahead to adjourn proceedings to Monday, the 25th of November, for ruling on the bail application.
The court even made an order for the Deputy Controller General of Nigerian Correctional Services to come with a medical report ascertaining the health status of the first defendant, which unfortunately is not here today. So it's not proper and fair to say we are frustrating the case.
Meanwhile, a short adjournment was observed during the proceedings to attend to Maina when he became ill in the courtroom. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
A sum of 24 billion naira in total comprehensive income was made in the first 6 months of 2019 by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, and the group in its presentation at the National Economic Council meeting says under the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund, it intends to complete the second Niger Bridge, the Abuja to Kano Highway, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and the Mambila Power Project. The projects are to cost 2.5 trillion naira, while Council resolved to invest an additional $250 million to the Sovereign Investment Authority and also constitute a committee to consider how a portion of the pension fund can also be leveraged into investment for the NSIA. Over now to State House correspondent Jide Onifade for more on this and other deliberations at the Council's meeting.
So many issues for the day, and one after the other, the issues were attended to by the Council. For example, a memorandum on the solid minerals sector, stressing the need for improved synergy between the federal government and the state governments. Minister of Solid Minerals and Steel Development, Olamilekun Adigbite, presented the memorandum in relation to fiscal governance of the solid minerals sector and seek Council's support on the need to respect the provisions of the Constitution and the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act 2007. Governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, briefed the press on these requests.
There should be a full-time engagement of the communities to avoid mistakes made in the oil sector. In summary, the Governor of Ekiti State, Chairman of the Governors Forum NGF, shall constitute an ad hoc committee involving governors to engage with the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel to find ways of addressing all the issues.
Managing Director of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, Uche Oji, gives an update on the transactions of the authority in 2018 and part of 2019.
NSIA and its group made a profit total of 44.3 billion naira in 2018, and so far in 2019, as at the first 6 months of 2019 for the period ending June 30th, the NSIA updated the Council that they have made 24 billion naira of profits so far.
Another business of the day, the Council resolved to constitute an ad hoc committee with Governor El Rufai of Kaduna State as chairman and governors of the 6 geopolitical zones who are currently serving in the board of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company to review the status of the ownership structure of the power distribution companies. Representatives from the National Council on Privatization and the Bureau of Public Enterprises will also form part of the ad hoc committee. Imo State Governor Emeka Ihedioha briefs the press on this and updates on the nation's accounts.
Only one excess crude account balance as at 20th November 2019 stands at 324,539,031.51.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo equally briefed the Council on the progress on Single Window Steering Committee and the Apapa Traffic Task Team. Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State is also to join the team. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
Nigeria's tax revenue expected to receive a boost as Senate passes Finance Bill 2019. Details after this break. Don't go away.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. us, leave us one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are, put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Welcome back. We now go back to Adamu Sambo's report where he said President Buhari engaged the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria.
Members of the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria were led to the State House by their chairman, Mudashiru Obasa of the Lagos State Assembly. Their mission to show appreciation to the President for assenting to the Fourth Alteration Act of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which granted financial autonomy to both the state parliaments and judiciary. That singular act, according to them, was a clear demonstration of President Buhari's strong passion for an independent legislature as an essential ingredient for good governance in the country. Mr. Obasa, however, alerted the President that the objectives of the constitutional provision are yet to be fully achieved and called for his intervention.
We therefore humbly call on Mr. President to issue an executive order mandating the Accountant General of the Federation to deduct allocation for the state legislature and state judiciary from source during Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting of any state of the Federation that fails to release the budget of the state legislature and judiciary to them in line with the financial autonomy guaranteed by provision of Section 1213 of 1999 Constitution.
The state lawmakers used the opportunity to, amongst others, commend the President for his doggedness and determination towards stamping out corruption and all kinds of criminal behaviors in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari appreciated the engagement with the leadership of the state assemblies, saying he is now better informed, especially on issues relating to the implementation of the autonomy granted them and the judiciary.
I try to be as loyal as humanly possible to the Constitution. Please make a formal written submission to my office to ensure it receives the most appropriate attention. I also want to assure you that we remain committed to ensuring that equity and fairness prevails in governance.
The President promised to periodically consult the Conference of State Assembly Speakers towards enhancing democracy, strengthening its institutions, and positively impacting government interventions across Nigeria.
As you are aware, the focus of this government is to ensure collective prosperity for our citizens through the provision of jobs and security and economic opportunity while eliminating corruption in public service.
Already, President Buhari said his administration has started restoring the nation's critical infrastructure to levels that the nation desires, while allocating significant resources to key social services sectors, especially in health, education, as well as empowerment programs. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
To the National Assembly now. Ahead of the planned passage of the 2020 appropriation bill by the Senate on the 28th of November this year, the Senate has passed the Finance Bill 2019, which is expected to expand Nigeria's tax revenue in the 2020 budget. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports that the bill has 56 clauses and seeks to amend 6 tax laws in Nigeria.
On the 6th of this month, the Senate passed the second reading of the finance bill presented by the executive and referred it to its Committee on Finance for scrutiny. 15 days after the referral, the committee has concluded public hearing on the bill, its reports presented and considered.
The executive should be encouraged to propose to the National Assembly the finance bill to support the fiscal policies of the annual budget and should also sustain the initiative on an annual tradition.
The major problem of the Nigerian economy is revenue. I'm happy that in these taxes that we are even looking at, it is not targeted at the downtrodden.
The executive bill with 5 strategic objectives primarily seeks to increase revenue generation through tax reforms to fund the federal government's revenue projection of 8.1 trillion naira in the 2020 appropriation bill, block leakages arising from inefficient and ineffective tax incentives, and expand tax-exempt items. The proposed law also seeks to increase VAT from 5 to 7.5%, extend stamp duties to electronic receipts, and amend the insurance taxation rules aimed at creating a level playing field for insurance companies, introduce tax rules to capture digital economy and services rendered offshore.
This is about our economy, and if you are an operator of this economy, you will see that we are paying less tax in all fronts
for the purpose of garnering the necessary fund to fund our needs to develop our country.
The National Assembly, particularly the Senate, will be mounting a lot of oversight on the revenue generating agencies.
Acting Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Akwashiki Godia, speaks on the bill process.
Every amendment went through the due process by inviting public hearing.
Meanwhile, President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan granted audience to the Presidential Advisory Committee on Anti-Corruption, during which the committee appealed for speedy passage of anti-corruption bills, especially the Special Crimes Court Bill, and the confirmation of the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu.
In fact, we are in a haste. If those bills are ready, for us to start working on them, for the confirmation of the chairman, acting chairman of EFCC. This is a new Senate, and therefore, until there is a request to this Senate, there is nothing the Senate can do.
Senator Lawan also granted audience to a delegation from the Arewa Consultative Forum from the National Assembly, Ignatius Unko, NTA News.
And the House of Representatives is to launch an investigation into privatized government companies whose performance have fallen short of expectations. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali has that one.
The decision by House members followed a motion from Aussie Prestige, which highlighted the dismal performance of some privatized government companies, in particular the power sector.
The reason for the privatization to most of these particular areas have really not been achieved.
The federal government still has 40% equity shareholding in this discourse. So it is not out of place for us to have a look at them.
Also to be investigated by the House are the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation on the current status of Savannah Bank, as moved by Magaji Aliyu.
Of the depositors whose funds were trapped in the bank for the first 17 years are either dead, bankrupt, or in dire hardship after many years of depression and discontentment.
Other resolutions passed at plenary include carrying out an investigation on a contract said to have been awarded in 2017 by the Federal Ministry of Transport through the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, worth more than $195 million for the supply of security and surveillance equipment at ports, tabled by Benjamin Kalu, and the motion from Ifeanyi Moma calling for an investigation on the millions of dollars spent in the last 4 years on turnaround maintenance of the nation's 3 refineries.
The huge cost of undertaking the turnaround maintenance of the refineries, which despite all the expenses, have remained comatose, leaving the country dependent on importation of refined petroleum products for its domestic consumption.
Plenary featured the swearing-in of Dozie Nwanko of the All Progressives Grand Alliance as House member representing Anocha Ndukofia Federal Constituency, having won his case as the appeal court. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The Nigeria Governors Forum is working out modalities for the smooth and accelerated implementation of World Bank State Fiscal Transparency, Accountability and Sustainability Program. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that this was among 7 paragraphs communique issued during the 7th meeting of the Nigeria Governors Forum.
Sessions, the Governors Forum is meeting to decide on issues concerning their state and the country in general. This time around, the World Bank standard in the management of resources and sustaining effective fiscal planning regime tops discussion.
Following a presentation from the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation on SIFTA's annual performance appraisal mission to states, members committed to working with independent verification agents, IVAs, to ensure that the APA process does not experience any delays.
The Aliko Dangote and Bill Melinda Gates Foundation on Human Capital Development were on hand to update the governors on basic health. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, who presided over the meeting, says the forum is committed to increasing access to productivity and wealth creation, just as they are developing effective frameworks in collaboration with World Bank and UNICEF to promote adolescent girls' initiatives for learning and empowerment.
Governors promised to hold a dedicated session to reach a consensus on what matters most for states and a common agenda to improve the well-being of all Nigerians.
Federal government's policies and reforms on improving the living standard of the citizenry also received endorsement of the forum. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
And that concludes Panorama. Nationwide is at 4. See you then. I am Lydia Otijochi.